Coming up on Colonial Sports Center. In our last show of the year, we take a look back at the top 10 plays from a year in Colonial sports.
And of course, with that, with the old opener, we say farewell to myself, Kitchen, and 2 other seniors in our last episode here as Colonials.
All that and more coming up next on Colonial Sports Center. Welcome to another and final edition of Colonial Sports Center for the season. I'm Dan Kitchen.
And I'm Kristen Kupa.
We've got a lot in store for you today. We have some lacrosse action to get to you, and we're going to take a look at the upcoming games for the last week of Colonial Sports.
And of course, later on in the show, we have Grade That Team, and then once again, we say our farewells to all of you at home and everybody here in the studio.
It's going to be a real sentimental moment, so make sure you all stay tuned for that. But we have another unfortunate moment to talk about first. And the Colonials men's basketball team has gotten used to players leaving via transfer in the last couple years, and some breaking news from this week is going to have them doing so once again. Freshman guard Stephen Whitley announced his intentions to transfer from the program on his Twitter page this week. The Virginia native appeared in all but one game for the Colonials, starting 9 of them, including the final 6 regular season contests in their NEC tournament game against Wagner. Whitley averaged 3.3 points in just under 17 minutes per game this season for RMU. Whitley follows Rodney Pryor, who announced his intent to transfer from the program in March.
The men's lacrosse team, after their loss against Bryant, decided to travel up to Geneva, New York, where they faced off against NEC foe Hobart. After back-and-forth action through the third quarter, the Colonials had no answer for Hobart's offense as the Statesmen ran away with their scoring in the fourth. Hobart attacker Chris Aslanian excelled in the contest, tallying 7 total points on 5 goals and 2 assists. The 16-10 loss now drops the Colonials' record to 2-2 in conference play and 4-7 overall. RMU will face off against Canisius Tuesday at 7.
The RMU women's lacrosse team opened up NEC play against LIU Brooklyn this week, and while they were in the middle of the standings, they were looking to dominate the conference and win the NEC championship. Now, the Blackbirds had a similar record to the Colonials going in, so the teams were even at the first draw. And the first draw there is LIU getting the early lead, Mary McQueen with a heater right there, and the goaltender and the entire defense couldn't see it.
And then Corey Karwacki runs the perimeter. She finds the wide open lane, drives right to the net, and she's going to score right there for the Colonials.
Corey has a sister on that team as well, Jessica Karwacki. She's going to take a penalty shot, and that goalie's like all the others they face, not able to stop her.
And guess what? Becca Williams is going to take a shot at it when she passes to Jen Peters, who's going to score on the Colonials, giving LIU another point.
And Mary McQueen's not going to be done here, but the real star of this play, Carly Robinson, evades multiple Colonial defenders, finds McQueen in the middle, and McQueen's going to rifle it past goaltender Sarah Arnold.
And then Jessica Karwacki is going to get back on the points where she goes one-on-one with the goaltender, and she's going to score there for the Colonials.
New goaltender in net for the Colonials now, former soccer goaltender Becky Schonecker, and she's going to help play good defense on that shot by Tori Shinkowitz and help preserve the Colonials' lead. So, a solid performance in both halves got conference play off to an excellent start for the Colonials, knocking off the Blackbirds 13-9. The Karwacki twins again played a major part in securing the win, with Jessica and Corey accounting for 6 of the team's 15 points. Jessica led the team with 4 points, all on goals, and Dana Davis was second with 3 points for Robert Morris. Sarah Arnold was the winning goaltender for the Colonials.
Now the women's lacrosse team was back in action when they concluded their with their homestand this past Sunday when they defeated Sacred Heart with a final score of 6-5. After trailing 4-1 in the first 10 minutes of play, the Colonials snapped into action when RMU scored 4 straight, giving them the lead going into the second half. Sacred Heart would tie the game early in the second, but a last-minute goal by Emily Jamison off of a Corey Karwacki assist would give the Colonials the victory. Along with her assist on the game winner, Karwacki also scored 2 goals in the first half, earning her Player of the Week honors.
Now, unfortunately, next week we won't be here to bring you all the action, but some Colonial teams will be continuing their seasons. We're going to go ahead and take a look at who's going to be in action over this weekend.
And starting off, of course, is going to be Friday with women's lacrosse, where they face off at CCSU at 4.
And we're going to have a busy day in women's sports on Saturday. You have women's lacrosse playing at Bryant, another NEC game at noon, and then a doubleheader against softball plays LIU Brooklyn at Brooklyn.
And then that following Sunday, the women's softball team is going to travel to Sacred Heart, where they have another doubleheader, first at noon and then at 2 against Sacred Heart.
All right, now coming up after the break, we're going to go ahead and hand down some grades on all of the Colonials teams, good and bad, and tell you what we thought of their performances from the past season.
And then later on the show, we find out what our fellow classmates and friends think of us when we look at our senior packages.
Yep, so all that and more on Colonial Sports Center, so stay tuned.
For all of your RMU-related news, sports, arts, and entertainment, head over to www.rmucenturymedia.com.
Haley here with some exciting news. You may have seen us on the Century Second on RMUcenturymedia.com. But starting fall of 2013, we'll be moving to RMU-TV with our new show called Trending Now, sharing with you stories from the news that you would actually care about. If you want to be a part of an amazing crew and help to produce an amazing show, stop by the Academic Media Center here at Robert Morris.
You know you want to, and we will see you next year.
It was a game to remember for the Colonials this past Friday as they defeated Mount St. FT Fairleigh Dickinson. The seniors were honored. Fairleigh Dickinson, the Colonials were honored their seniors before the game in a nice little senior ceremony before the game. And now we're going to get to the highlight.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new season of Trending Now, the show that gives you the news that you actually care about.
Please use this song in your commercial. Please use this song in your commercial. I need the money, so please use this to sell something. Please use this song in your commercial.
Colonial Sports Center, it's Judgment Day for some Colonial athletic programs. We're going to go ahead and say whether or not we thought they did a good job this season in our Grade the Team portion of the show.
You know what, Dan? I think a lot of the teams did very, very well, but of course we're going to start off with football, and I'm going to start this off, okay? And I'm going to go with a D-. They did a lot better than they did last year, but I mean, let's face it, they still didn't do very well. Their offense was horrible, and their defense was the only good part of that team.
I'm going to have to go ahead and go with the C and be a little bit more generous to the team because they had some close losses to some tough teams in Dayton and Youngstown State, and their defense played great for the start of the season and then fell off, and their offense played horrible to start the season and then all of a sudden turned it on. So I figured all that and in a much improved record from last season balances it out to a C.
We saw glimmers of hope. The season started off offensively well, and then the offense, Matt Barr just kind of fell apart. So I give them a C. They have close victories against Dayton, or close losses to Dayton and Youngstown State. So that's my thinking in this C pick.
Okay, we're going to move over to men's soccer, but the football team, of course, doing pretty well. But then men's soccer, I'm going to start off. I'm going to give them a B+. They did pretty well. They made it all the way to the NECs. They made it to the semifinals, lost. But overall, the season pretty shaky, but did very well when it mattered the most.
I'm going to go ahead and echo that. Also give them a B+ because they made the NEC tournament and they won the games when they needed to, and they had a solid showing this season.
I went a little lower with just a B. I think they wasted talent. I think they wasted Nico Brett's talent. With Nico Brett, you have to get to the championship game and bring that trophy, NEC trophy, back to Moon Township. So that's why I give them just the B+, guys.
No, 3 Bs. You know what that stands for? Nico Brett. That's what I say.
Now in the MLS.
But I mean, Nico Brett, of course, being that men's soccer player who really did well, made it all the way to the MLS, now doing an incredible career. And if anything came out good out of that program, and not just a berth in the NEC semifinals, but also just overall another name to tack on to the athletics. Now, next we're going to face off against. Next we're going to talk about women's soccer. Ian, I want to know what you have.
I have once again a B. As the season started 0-4. Not many people think they were going to be successful. They weren't scoring goals, and that was definitely. They had the offense. They were losing close games, but they turned it around. They went 10-11, 5-3 in the conference. They lost in the semifinals. So B, I was contemplating a B+, but because their loss in the playoffs, when they were playing pretty well, that's why I have the B, guys.
Now, I give it A-. Kitchen, what do you have?
I have a B because they had a losing record, but they picked up an NEC tournament win.
Now, volleyball. We're going to start off here. I'm going to start this off, actually. I give them an A+ because I love this team. They did extremely well. They made it all the way to the NCAA tournament and lost, but I mean, it was the first time since 2003. So I want to know what your guys' opinions are.
I have an A because they dominated the NEC tournament, and then they weren't able to pull off an upset in the NCAA tournament.
Ian, real quick.
A- because they had the best non-conference start, going 5-8 in recent years, but then they dominated NEC play. They beat the Blackbirds of LIU Brooklyn to bring that trophy and get their rings.
Now, they definitely had trouble throughout the season against LIU in years past, so it was very interesting to really see them do very, very well. Now, the next team we're going to talk about is men's basketball. Kitchen, what do you have?
I think I might have the most generous grade here. I went with a D-, almost gave them an F. But this is a team that made an NCAA tournament and 2 NIT tournaments the last 3 years, won a game in all of them, and instead they had a 10 and 22 record.
22.
And at this point, players transferring and leaving the program early has become a regular occurrence. So this is not the team that was making postseason tournaments the last 3 years, and you need to be hopeful for a rebuild next year with the program.
Now, before I give mine, Ian, I want to know what you gave them.
I went a little higher than Dan. He thought he probably gave them the worst grade. I give them a D, 10 and 22, like we said, 8 and 10. They showed glimmers of hope, but inconsistent play killed them all. They beat the NEC champions, Fairleigh Dickinson, twice, but D overall. Leadership wasn't there, coaching wasn't there. A poor season, but hopefully next year will be a little different.
No, actually, Ian, I agree with you. I give them a D as well. I mean, from what we've seen in the past 3 years, they've done horrible, but I mean, we'll see what happens next year. Now, this is my favorite team we want to talk about. We're going to talk about the women's basketball team. They made it to the NCAA tournament for the second time in 3 years, so of course, I'm going to give them an A. They did extremely well. Overall, you had Anna Nicky, well-ran a team. You have Anna Nicky, Rebecca Navarro, Ashley Ravelli, those seniors, juniors, seniors, just doing extremely well and really gave Coach Sal the final season that he really needed.
All right, I went ahead and gave them an A- because there wasn't much more you could ask for the season. They made it to the NCAA tournament. They ran through the NEC tournament as a lower seed, and they were able to give Coach Sal that excellent farewell. So that's all you could really hope for the season.
I guess I'm going to be the mean guy here. I went with a B. Their streaky play made me think that they weren't going to get into the tournament, but they did prove that they were the team they were, and the seniors were they were. So B in Coach Sal's last season.
Now we're going to move on to men's hockey before I give my grades. Ian, I'm going to go back to you. What do you think? How do you think the men's hockey team did?
I give them an A-. They had an A going into the game against RIT in the AHC championship, but it's almost like you're in the class. You have an A, and then you take the final, you bomb the final, so I give them an A-. I'm going to be that mean professor.
I really like how you did that. Ian, nice analogy. Now I give them an A, actually, because I think they've done so well throughout the season. You have 9 seniors who were the most winningest class in all of program history. They all went on to go further their careers, which personally was astonishing compared to last year when only Cody Wida was the only player. And they went in, made it all the way to the finals. Now they did kind of not do so hot against RIT, but it is what it is.
And I also gave them an A because, you know what, part of the reason they didn't do well against RIT is because RIT gets to play at home in that tournament every year, which gave them an unfair advantage over the Colonials.
Now we're going to go on the women's hockey. I'm going to start off here. This is probably the highest grade out of the two of you, I think, and I'm giving them a B. They won the games that they needed the most, but then they won against teams that they shouldn't have, and then they lost against teams that they should have won against. But they did make it all the way to playoffs. They lost in the second round, and but overall, I think it was a good season.
All right, I gave them a C because sure they were able to win a playoff series, but against a team in Lindenwood that they had no business losing to begin with.
B-. They made some improvements, but they didn't get as far as I thought they would when they didn't beat Mercyhurst in the playoffs.
Now we're going to go to men's lacrosse. I'm going to give them, men's lacrosse, we're going to give them a D. They did, that's all I got to say.
I gave them a D+. They're 4-7 right now, and they have no stability in a goaltender unless they pick one person and stick with them.
I agree with you guys. Give them a C-. Season's not over yet.
But they only had like 3 games left, Ian. I don't see them making
They're
any
2-2 in conference play.
thing.
They can finish over 500.
Now we're going to go to women's lacrosse, where I'm giving them a B. They're doing a lot better than the men's team, and it's B for my favorite person on the team, B for Becky, because she was that backup goaltender that they needed in their last game, and they're just a better, more well-rounded team than the men's team.
I'm also going to give them a B because that stands for Brittany Byerly, the senior who was injured, and now they're almost playing like they're doing the season for her, and they haven't lost since that happened. So they're riding a wave of fire right now.
I'm going to play the mean guy again. I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to be that professor. Gives them a C. I haven't seen them play real well in their streaky play, but hopefully they'll play for Byerly as the season goes on.
Now the last sport we're going to be talking about is women's softball. Kitchen, what do you give them?
I gave them a C- because right now they're 11-24, but they have a couple of marquee statement wins that even if they finish with a bad record, they're still going to be able to look back on as a positive for the season.
Ian?
I like this team. I give them a B. They are 11-24, but they play top teams in their and the opponents they play, they were the top in their opponents, like UNLV, the Utahs, but they beat 17, 18 ranked Minnesota and Penn State and Rutgers in the Big Ten. B.
And I give them a C. They've done well. I agree with Kitchen on all points of it, but I think that's what's going to be expected of a team at this current moment. But of course, with that concludes this part of the game, and then later on, guess what we have? It's back, ladies and gentlemen. It's back. It's the primetime plays of the year, and I can't be any more excited than I am right now.
And we want to thank Mr. Crayola Man, Ian Kiss, for being on the show one last time this year. Ian, it was great hosting.
It's a pleasure, guys.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back. It's the last show of the year, which means we have the return of an old segment, Primetime Plays of the Year this time.
I have been waiting for this all year because we haven't done any of these.
Oh, yeah. I know. So let's go ahead and get to them now. We haven't done it in a while. We're anxious.
And it's going to be my favorite guitar riff of all time. Number 10. We're going to start off with men's soccer versus Duquesne. You have Kian McIver, who's going to connect with Pantillo. And guess what? Last part of the year, he punts it into the back of the net. And we're going to see a replay here. Once again, McIver passes over to Pantillo. He's going to kick it right off the corner, and there was no saving that.
All right, we can go ahead and go to number 9 now. And Cassie Raymond, one of the stars from the women's soccer team this year, and she's going to get this pass, and then it's going to be 2 jukes. There's one right there, then right back into the middle around them. 2 jukes and a score. Not much easier than that for her, and it was easy there. Colonial's able to put on a good showing in that game as well.
I'm pretty sure she just broke that girl's ankles.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. That was a while ago. Probably healed by now.
It's also not Becky, so she didn't break her leg. Number 8, it's going to be Matt Barr connects with a wide open Kyle Buss, and he's going to go all the way. And I don't think many more people were excited than that guy right there in the end zone.
I don't know. He was really digging that touchdown.
He was definitely, because, I mean, Kyle Buss, what a catch. Running all the way in the back, and, of course, Dennis right there, too, with wide open arms.
Going to be seeing a lot more of that from Kyle Buss this season for football. But now we're on to men's lacrosse, and you have James Ray behind the back pass to Eddie Smith for the goal. We're not going to have a replay on that one, but it was still impressive.
And number 6, we're going to see this. You usually see this in the NHL. You have Zach Lynch. He's going to shoot it up in the air and actually hits off the helmet of Adam Carlson. I mean, last time I saw that was a few years ago. And right there, that's top 10 not plays of the year. Number 5 is going to be football once again. And what hey, 1, 2, you juke left, you juke right, and then guess what? You get a touchdown as well. What a play.
All right, we're going to go on to number 4 now, and men's basketball, and we saw a lot of Rodney Pryor throws it down.
Slam City.
That dunk, yeah, Slam City right there. Didn't mean anything. Colonials already had the game won, but it was still impressive. And on number 3, more video game stuff right here. Greg Gibson with the deke straight out of NHL, and the pass to Chase Golightly right there embarrasses that defender. That defender might have been cut from his team after that play. And Chase Golightly chips it up over there, finishes off the play for the Colonials.
And number 2 is Matt Barr once again, who's going to connect with Nick Lamica. I mean, the air that he was able to get on that play, I mean, I was there, and that was unbelievable to see. Slow motion, even better. Gets it both hands on that ball and just brings it down with him.
Number 1, one of the true heroes of any hockey team, the guy who doesn't score a lot of points but makes the plays that are needed. Rob Mann, filling in for goaltender Terry Schaefer on that play, gets his stick out in front and he kicks the puck out. Colonials had a 4-goal lead and it stayed that way because of Rob Mann's excellent play right there. And there's your primetime plays of the year.
I know. I mean, to get that on your last show, it's definitely a lot of exciting. Oh,
Yeah.
look,
We got
it's
one-
another senior.
We got one of our 2 seniors, Jake Hartsville, down here with us.
Just figured I'd come down since never really had this opportunity. So.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Anything you want to say to the folks at home?
It's gonna be weird not being here. I don't know.
You gotta get this microphone in here.
Yeah.
Gotta talk. What's up?
I don't know. It's gonna be weird not being here. Hopefully, all of our amazing crew does an awesome job next year, and maybe we can be like good old John Fisher, who was texting me a little bit to encourage us during the show. So
Yeah,
maybe
well,
we can be that keep that legacy going.
Yeah, definitely. Kitchen, you have any thank yous?
Yeah, I have to thank everyone who supported me, all the advice they gave me, and all the harsh criticism from some people. Not going to name names, but Bennett.
Michael Bennett.
And I guess Nick Milliron for Sam Predabon for harassing me until I agreed to sign on to the show in the first place.
You know, somebody I want to give a special thanks to is Alec Balenciaga, who has taught me to be on camera while there's distractions going on behind it.
You call them distractions, I call them entertaining and funny because
if only
I don't
you
break.
people, if only you people saw. But somebody who is not with us tonight and has been a huge part of Colonial Sports Center is, of course, another senior, Kendall Vallon. I mean, she's been an incredible person these past 4 years. She took off last semester. And she made graphics for us who, I mean, they were on point. They were beautiful. And unfortunately, she can't be here with us. But hey, you know what? She's probably watching this right now. But me personally, I'd like to thank everybody who's watching, everybody behind the camera. Nick, you did such a great job. Of course, you took this show that it was hard to follow up, and you were able to create it into something that was your own. And then, of course, everybody who's come before us, John Fisher, Brooks Bratton, Nick Curry, Vince, everybody, Jake Neal, Leah, Haley, Dante. How can I forget my favorite Peruvian? But everybody who came before us really mentored us, and we would like this special thank you guys. And of course, Ian, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun. And Kristen Code, the fun fact, although this is over, this hopefully won't be the last time that you see of me, and it was great being part of your team, guys.
Dame Kitchen fun fact, now that Kristen is graduating, you're going to see about an 80% decrease in the number of mascot puns you hear next year.
Wrong. Ian's here still.
Okay, well, we can talk him out of it.
I don't know. But I think that's it for us here.
Yeah, we're done.
That's it. You know what?
We're done.
It's graduation time! Woo!
Done. Stay tuned. We got our senior packages coming up after the break.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, look, a redhead.
Staring contest.
You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Oh God! I shouldn't be making sex noises on tape. My name's Kendall Vallon, and I started my CSC career running graphics, and that's my position for the past 2.5 years, sometimes 3. It was the retreat. They really talked up CSC. It really seemed like the show to be at, and there was a lot of the seniors that I looked up to. They all worked the show, so I thought I'd give it a go, and I kind of fell into my position and would spend all-nighters working on graphics, and you know, that's how it all began. I feel like it was a mix of Jake, Brooks, and Fisher. I feel like they all had a hand in really pushing all of us along. And when I look back, they're like the main leaders to, you know, I thought I was gonna transfer, and they all sat down with me and really motivated me to stay here and really believe in my college choice. I was really doubting myself and doubting life decisions, and you know, when everybody was saying, well, do whatever you want, they were honest with me and really encouraged me and believed that I had a purpose here. Besides the upperclassmen, I feel like I made a lot of friends here. So I feel like the 2016 class, we all kind of grew up and learned the positions together and really pushed each other, and I feel like we learned from each other. Anytime we pumped up the jams, like right before CSC would begin, like when we were all setting up and just like the hype of like, you know, fixing the rundowns, and I'd literally be like screaming at the printer because that was like my one job, was like just print the rundowns and then do the graphics, and just, you know, I just liked just the energy I felt before then, and everybody came together, and even if you didn't see each other that whole week, you would all be together to produce a show, and Bennett would be there, and it was just like one big freaking happy family, like ready to put on a show. You know, it was like sophomore year was one of my favorite years because everybody from RMU-TV lived together, so you know, all the mayhem. And you know what? You guys approved my Hooters outfit before I wore it to CSC, so from day one, you guys have been with me, and like my family's been here, and I'm the kind of person that gets homesick really easily, so transitioning to college wasn't too comfortable for me. But this, immediately I felt like this is where I belonged, and I still am friends with every single person that I met freshman year, and you know, the friendships and just the late nights and just everything has really solidified my college memories, and just these are the best 4 years of your life, and I really owe it to you guys. If I didn't do RMU-TV, or if I didn't have the push and the support from everybody, I don't know how I would have made it to New York and just had the guts to just, you know, keep knocking on doors until I finally got the internship of my dreams working for Nickelodeon, you know, looking out over Times Square. And I feel like I was in the same boat with all the other interns from all the Ivy League schools. I feel like I had, you know, a better college experience than most of them too, because they didn't have this close-knit family with a TV station, or, you know, they weren't. I feel like our friendship really is something special, and just what we have in our productions that something like big schools don't have, or, you know, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to meet. And I feel like that going to New York made me realize how important Robert Morris is. Enjoy the time you have, because 4 years goes by so quickly, and just don't be shy. Just do whatever you want here. Really get involved, because there's so many opportunities that you wouldn't even think of. And there's so many chances to be a producer, a director, a writer, a graphic artist. There's so many opportunities, and we're really lucky to have what we have here at Robert Morris. Senior year Kendall's like, ooh, look at all the mistakes I made. Don't do that. Woo! Don't wear that shirt. Don't make out with that boy. Don't join that sorority. Girl, you're gonna make mistakes, but it's gonna be okay in the end, and do not transfer. I'm Kendall Vallon, and you're watching Colonial Sports Center.
I'm Jake Hartsfeld, and let's see, freshman year, I didn't do a whole lot. I kind of shadowed directing, learned how, and got to direct a little bit. Then sophomore year, directed, I think, all year, and was supposed to have, Becky and I rotate, and she kind of fell off the face of the earth. But it worked out. It was great. And junior and senior year, I really didn't get to be around too much. I more just kind of helped out and, when needed, filled in because of work and just being extremely busy. Summer before freshman year, I got a call from Kathy about actually working work study and being part of the studio, which was cool, but didn't really know much going in. And thanks to the center retreat, I met Jake Neal and Brooks Bratton, and they really kind of took me under their wing and showed me the ropes and got me involved with everything. Like I said, Jake kind of had me learning how to direct and everything else under him, so they were really the start for me. Good memories, bad memories. I'm sure people could say there's a lot of bad memories involving me. I'd say probably the funniest story that I felt awful about at the time, but looking back was great, was after one of the CSCs when I was taking sound design with Kristen, and we were doing all these sound effects. We had to make our own sound effects, and I honked the horn on the admissions golf cart that was out in the garage by accident. I was just messing around. And I remember Dom Flamini flipped out, started screaming and shaking, and everyone else flipped out, but that was unreal. And Kristen was screaming because she was in there with me, and of course I was like, hey Kristen, hold this real quick, watch this. And I hit the horn. So needless to say, I kind of scared the daylights out of everyone, and yeah, it was fun. But there was a lot of good memories over the last 4 years here. So for me, I still talk to Jake and Brooks. The other day, Brooks was here for one of the Nashville Predators games, and I went up and talked with him for a couple minutes during the game just because he was so influential to me and really helped me out freshman year. And so yeah, I definitely hope that in the future I can stay in touch with everybody and
still also share that trust with everybody. Get involved. Do not be afraid to get involved, because you have no idea how much getting involved can really help you. Whether it's with a job, whether it's getting another position or a farther position in RMU-TV stuff, or getting a random opportunity that Carrie finds or Joe finds or someone. I mean, there's so many opportunities that are available, and take them by the horn. Take every opportunity given and just run with it. Have fun. Again, don't be afraid to fail, but at the same time, be willing to if it comes to it. And yeah. I'm Jake Hartsfeld, and you're watching Colonial Sports Center.
Hey Alec, how you doing? Sorry I called you Alex earlier.
That's all right. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
My name's Dan Kitchen, and I anchored CSC for almost all of the 2015-2016 school year.
Were you lead anchor, or?
I started out as an editor just for the script, and then I got thrown on as a part-time analyst of football and then other sports, and then they said, hey, you want to be lead anchor? And I said, sure. So I was lead anchor from about October up until the end of the year.
Do you remember your first night on CSC?
On CSC, yes, I definitely remember it. I walked into the to edit the script, and they said, hey, you're going to fill in for 5 minutes about RMU football. And they didn't have me prepared for it at all. It was sort of just throwing me into the fire, said, hey, talk for 5 minutes. And it was great until my chair got stuck on the audio cords, and it was either I walked on the camera as I got off, or I ripped out all the audio and completely ruined the whole show. So I kind of got a lose-lose there.
Well, I know the answer to this next question is going to be John Fisher, but who influenced you the most on CSC?
No one.
Not even John Fisher?
I honestly, I started out I went on to the first show not thinking, let's try to be like this person. I went on saying, let's do the first show, just act like I normally would on air, see what happens. And then I started taking the criticism from other people and trying to build on it. And a lot of the criticism was, you need to act more like John Fisher. So I guess I sort of indirectly did, but just going on, I was just flying blind and said, let's see how this goes, just trying to be myself.
So the person who influenced you most was John Fisher.
I feel like you want me to say that on camera, so I'm not going to give you the response. Favorite episode? It'd probably be the one where we did the football depth chart, and it was the football depth chart. We did soccer, lacrosse, and Dante came back. Just the ending was so much fun to do, and then doing the football depth chart, that was my element. I was told, hey, project a depth chart and then explain your reasoning for it, and to be able to do that for 3 minutes, I wish I could have gone for 10 or 15. I could have filled a whole CSC episode with that. So just being able to get up there on a green screen and talk about football was exactly what I wanted to do when I signed up for CSC.
Other anchors you've worked with, who's your favorite?
See, that's a loaded question because everyone's going to see it, and now the ones I don't pick are going to... And one of them...
You've only worked with 2.
Answer the question.
Who's
your favorite anchor?
Honestly, my favorite anchor would probably be Kristen Kudla, just because, I mean, we've been friends since sophomore year when I started doing stuff with the Century, and we've been able to work together on air for 3 years, so I feel like we just had that chemistry build up, and it's almost like when we're on camera, we care less about being serious and just have fun the whole time, and I think that helps make the show more entertaining, and it's a lot more fun to make the show whenever I'm not caring as much and just enjoying myself instead of trying to be serious the whole time.
What would Senior Dan tell Freshman Dan?
Senior Dan would tell Freshman Dan, don't stay in your dorm and just do one thing on campus, get involved, and even though you didn't go to the Century Retreat, start showing up for CSC earlier, start going after you want more. Don't wait 3 years to harass someone into being your radio co-host. Don't wait 3 years to try to join in on CSC and try to get on air. Start immediately, because instead of having just 1 year that I wish was longer to be a CSC host, I could have had maybe 2 or 3 and could have worked with some of the great guys like Brooks, Dante, and Fish who came before me.
Look at the camera and say, I'm Dan Kitchen, and you're watching Colonial Sports Center.
I'm Dan Kitchen, and you're watching Colonial Sports Center.
So what do you think of your EP, Bennett? What do you think about him?
What do I think about him? He's interesting. He's a person. He's definitely a person. You know, he spends about half his time producing, half the time watching college basketball scores update whenever it's in season. He'll appreciate that I said that.
He's a lizard man.
I'm not gonna, I don't know where that's coming from. I like when his kids comes in because usually his kids offer better feedback than he does at the end of the show.
Will you stop jacking off behind the camera?
Oh, that's the start. That's the start.
Welcome to Colonial Sports Center. I'm Kristen Kudley.
Sense the sarcasm.
My boob is eating.
Anyway.
I really hope. Are we recording? I really hope not.
Yeah, we're definitely.
I mean, I am a hair girl, so that was really bad. Please don't put that in there. Please don't put that in there. My name is Kristen Kudla, and for Colonial Sports Center, my most recent job was co-host with Dan Kitchen for Colonial Sports Center, but I've done everything from prompter, direct, technical direct, audio. So I started my freshman year whenever I went to the RMU Century Retreat, which was this thing at the beginning of the year which all these freshmen went to. And for me, I was super excited for it because that was the main reason why I moved in early. That and because I was on the track and field team. Going to the Century Retreat at the fire pit was a really exciting moment because I got to meet a lot of new people, and little did I know that on that day I would be meeting some of my best friends for the rest of my life. I mean, I met Kendall Vallon, met Jacob Hartsfeld, Leah Fleischel, Haley Sawyer, Gabby, Chris. There was so many of us that freshman class, and that year was just absolutely ridiculous. My freshman year, there were two seniors particularly that really influenced me, and that was Brooks Bratton and Jake Neal. I looked at them at so highly and so high regards, and I thought they were absolutely the best of what they did, and they really were. I mean, Brooks Bratton, he helped form me into not just a great person, but also a better journalist, while Jake Neal taught me more of behind the scenes, and he taught me how to cut highlights, how to do graphics, and all these little bits, and he also taught me how to have fun. The first time that I was ever a big influential part on Colonial Sports Center, I ended up interviewing Eric Levine. I was so excited, but I was so nervous. I had no idea about the team, and I read everything just like a robot. He was smiling, he was playing along with me, he really helped me out a lot. But then whenever I went to go do the sign out to the commercial, I was looking at camera 3, and the girl who was working that camera started moving the camera while it was live, and it slowly just got further and further and further away, and it just was it was a great way to start out your first time on camera. So what senior Kristen would tell freshman Kristen: continue being you. Don't ever let anybody discourage you from what you want to do. You're gonna face a lot of hardships. You're gonna face a lot of people trying to tell you that you're not good at what you do, and you need to know and be confident in yourself that you're gonna do well. You're gonna get a job. You're gonna get the internship of your dreams. That's all because of what you will do, and just continue to just be yourself, and don't let anybody discourage you from doing that. I've formed so many bonds with so many people here. They're not just friendships anymore. It's a family bond that, like, when I came in here, I thought I was just gonna meet some people, and they became my family. I want my legacy to be that after I leave here, that I've made such an impression on the people who I've tried to mentor or I've worked with, and they look back and they try to explain something to the classes that they're trying to teach, and you're like, you know, there was this girl, Kristen Kudla, she was the program manager for the radio station, and she did this, or, you know, there was this one anchor, Kristen. They kind of mentioned me, and I want to make that lasting impression, and I want to make it on that board of people who have had success in their field and have left that impression on not only the people here are here now, but it can be somebody that they can talk about. My name is Kristen Kudla, and you're watching Colonial Sports Center.